From the depths, the skies over Manhattan turned crimson as the Vexari warships tore through Earth's atmosphere. Their massive vessels, obsidian and angular with pulsing violet energy lines, cast vast shadows over the cityscape. Clouds parted like water before their hulls, technology beyond human understanding manipulating Earth's weather patterns simply by existing in them. Commander Maya Diaz watched from the rooftop of the United Earth Defense Force headquarters, her expression carved from stone despite the fear churning in her gut. At 42, she had spent 2 decades in military service, but nothing had prepared her for this. "How many?" she asked, her voice steady. Lieutenant Jackson Reed checked the holographic display on his wrist device. 37 capital ships over major cities worldwide. Unknown number of support craft. Communications are going haywire as they jam our systems. Maya nodded, dark eyes fixed on the alien armada and our defenses. Fighter squadrons engaging worldwide. Success rate. Reed hesitated. Minimal, Commander. The words hung between them with the weight of extinction. Humanity's most advanced weapons were proving ineffective against the alien shields. Reports were coming in from all continents: Moscow, Beijing, London, Cairo, Sydney, all facing the same overwhelming force. In Tokyo, Dr. Kai Nishimura watched the same scene unfold from his laboratory deep within Mount Fuji. Unlike the commanders on the surface, the slight, bespectacled physicist allowed himself a grim smile. He activated a secure channel that required 3 biometric confirmations. "This is Poseidon Actual." He spoke calmly into the communication system. "Initiation sequence Alpha 97 Tango." "I repeat, Alpha 97 Tango." The response was immediate. "Confirmation received, Poseidon Actual." Awakening sequence commenced. Throughout the world's oceans, in the crushing depths of the Mariana Trench, beneath the polar ice caps, in carefully hidden abysses, massive doors began to slide open. Water rushed into pressurized chambers as the Earth revealed its best-kept secret. Meanwhile, the Vexari High Commander Threk watched Earth's pitiful resistance from the bridge of his flagship. His leathery skin, the color of burned copper, stretched across his face in what passed for amusement among his kind. 4 pairs of compound eyes took in multiple data feeds simultaneously. "Such primitive weaponry," he remarked to his second-in-command. "Their most advanced missiles cannot even penetrate our outer defensive screens." "As intelligence indicated, High Commander," replied Sub-Commander Vasix. "Their technological development has been predictable." Threk's mandibles clicked in derision. "Begin the landing sequence. Their resources will serve the expansion well, though I doubt the inhabitants will be worth preserving even as laborers." On Earth's surface, the first wave of Vexari ground forces had begun their assault. Their warriors stood nearly 8 feet tall, encased in exoskeletons that enhanced their already formidable strength. They moved with ruthless efficiency through Washington, D.C., their energy weapons cutting through concrete and steel, and human flesh, with equal ease. Reed's wrist device chimed with incoming reports. "Commander, we've lost contact with the Pentagon. European Command reports similar breaches at major defense installations." Maya's jaw tightened. "What about the President?" "Airborne on emergency command, but the Vexari have fighters in pursuit." In the skies above the Atlantic, Air Force One engaged its experimental countermeasures, but the pursuing Vexari craft were relentless. Inside the aircraft, President Elena Alvarez received the coded message she had hoped would never come. "Madam President," her chief of staff said quietly, "Poseidon Protocol has been initiated." Alvarez closed her eyes briefly. Only 12 people on the planet knew what that meant. Estimated deployment time: 23 minutes, Madam President. She nodded. "Then we need to buy them 24. Back in New York, Maya and Reed were coordinating the increasingly desperate defense when their communication system crackled to life with a voice neither recognized. "All surface forces, this is Admiral Wyzong of Earth Deepwater Navy. Stand by for coordinated counteroffensive in 19 minutes. Repeat, Standby for counteroffensive. Transmitting authentication code Sierra Echo Alpha Bravo Echo Delta. Maya stared at Reed in disbelief. Earth Deepwater Navy. What the hell is that? Reed checked the authentication code against his secure database. His eyes widened. Commander, this is coming from the highest level. Code confirms. It's real. In his laboratory, Dr. Nishimura monitored the awakening of humanity's secret fleet. For 50 years, the world's most powerful nations had pooled their resources in absolute secrecy, constructing vessels unlike anything seen on Earth's surface. The theory had been simple but revolutionary. If humanity ever faced an existential threat from beyond, the attackers would focus on visible defenses. No one would look beneath the waves. Earth's oceans, covering 70% of the planet's surface and largely unexplored even by humans, provided the perfect hiding place. Status report, Nishimura demanded. All vessels at 97% operational capacity, came the response. Weapons systems online. Gravitic drives spooling up. The Deepwater Navy represented technology decades ahead of anything publicly known. Reverse-engineered from a crashed alien scout ship in the 1970s, the vessels combined terrestrial innovation with extraterrestrial principles. They weren't designed to move through water conventionally. They manipulated gravitational fields, essentially negating the existence of water around their hulls. In the Pacific Ocean, 50 miles east of Japan, the water began to churn. Something massive was rising, not breaking the surface like a submarine, but rather the water itself seemed to part, creating a perfect dry sphere around a vessel that defied conventional design. Nearly 1,000 feet long, its hull gleamed with a material that absorbed rather than reflected light. No windows mirrored its surface, no propellers drove it forward, and yet it accelerated with impossible speed toward the surface. Similar scenes play out across the globe's oceans, the Atlantic, the Indian, the Arctic. From the depths came humanity's hidden armada, untested in real combat, but built for this very day. Aboard the DSV Leviathan, Admiral Weizhong stood on the command deck. Unlike the cramped conditions of traditional submarines, the bridge was spacious, dominated by a 360-degree holographic display, showing both the ocean around them and the space above. All vessels maintained stealth protocols until synchronized strike. Target acquisition systems online. Primary weapons to full charge. The Vexari, so confident in their superiority, never noticed the approaching threat. Their sensors, calibrated to detect conventional Earth technology, failed to register the gravitational anomalies moving rapidly toward their positions. In orbit, High Commander Threk was preparing to address the human governments and dictate the terms of their surrender when his tactical officer interrupted with confused chittering. High Commander, we are detecting strange energy signatures from the planet's oceans. Threk dismissed the concern with a wave of his upper limb. They're primitive nuclear submarines, no doubt. A desperate final. The rest of his sentence died as the first of Earth's secret vessels breached the surface directly beneath one of the Vexari capital ships hovering over San Francisco. A beam of concentrated energy, not laser, not plasma, but something that distorted the very light around it, lanced upward through the alien vessel's shields as if they didn't exist. The Vexari ship, a craft that could have laid waste to an entire continent, split cleanly in two. The pieces fell toward the bay below, their power cores automatically entering containment mode to prevent catastrophic detonation. Similar scenes unfolded worldwide as humanity's hidden fleet revealed itself. The vessels rose not just from the oceans but launched upward, their gravitic drives allowing them to transition seamlessly from sea to air to the vacuum of space. In New York, Maya Diaz watched in awe as 3 of the mysterious craft rose from the Hudson River, their strange propulsion leaving no wake. They positioned themselves between the city and the Vexari ships, and when the aliens opened fire, their energy weapons seemed to bend around the Earth vessels, missing them entirely. "What are we seeing?" she whispered. Reed shook his head, equally stunned. I think we're seeing why the defense budget has been so classified for the past 5 decades. Dr. Nishimura's voice came through their communication devices, explaining what they were witnessing. The deep-water Navy vessels utilize a gravitational displacement field. They don't just deflect enemy fire, they bend space-time around themselves, making direct hits nearly impossible. As humanity's secret fleet engaged the invaders worldwide, the Vexari found themselves in an unprecedented situation. They were losing. Their communications, once filled with contemptuous orders about how to divide Earth's resources, now carried frantic requests for reinforcements and retreat coordinates. High Commander Threk stared at the tactical display in disbelief as 3 more of his capital ships fell to the human counterattack. "Impossible," he hissed. Their technological level was assessed at Classification 3. "These weapons are Classification 7 at minimum." Sub-Commander Vasix's voice shook as he replied, "The humans concealed their true capabilities, High Commander. Our intelligence was incomplete. No species has ever deceived a Vexari assessment so thoroughly." Threk snarled, "Order all ships to converge on my position. We will concentrate our firepower and—" The flagship shuddered as something impacted its lower hull. Warning klaxons blared throughout the massive vessel. "High Commander," the tactical officer reported, "unknown craft has attached itself to our ventral section. Ship systems are being compromised. We're losing control of defense grid, weapon systems, and—" The bridge lights flickered and died, replaced seconds later by emergency illumination. The holographic displays showed only static. "This is Commander Maya Diaz of the United Earth Defense Force." A human voice echoed through the ship's communication system. "Your vessel has been compromised. Your fleet is in retreat. You have one opportunity to surrender." As darkness fell over New York City, the enormous Vexari flagship descended slowly toward Central Park, no longer under its own power but guided down by 4 of the Earth vessels. The invasion that had begun with such confidence had lasted less than 6 hours. President Alvarez safely returned to the White House, prepared to address a confused and frightened world. The secret she and 11 others had kept was now visible in the skies for all to see. It was time to explain how humanity had developed technology decades beyond what was publicly known, and how Earth's oceans had hidden their greatest defense. But first, she had a meeting with High Commander Threk, who was about to discover that humans were far more than the primitive beings his intelligence had suggested. Stars of Defiance. The captured Vexari flagship dominated Central Park, its massive hull displacing several acres of carefully maintained greenery. A perimeter of Earth's conventional military forces surrounded it, though they seemed almost quaint next to the hovering vessels of the deep-water Navy that had brought down the alien command ship. Inside a hastily established Joint Command Center on the edge of the park, Commander Maya Diaz watched as High Commander Threk was led into the interrogation chamber. The alien towered over his human guards, his copper-colored exoskeleton reflecting the harsh lighting. Despite being restrained, he carried himself with unmistakable arrogance. "You believe this victory means something," Threk stated rather than asked, his words translated through a device developed by Dr. Nishimura's team. "It does not. The Vexari Dominion spans 17 star systems. What you faced today was merely an expeditionary force." President Alvarez, who had insisted on being present for this first official contact, stepped forward. "And yet your expeditionary force was defeated in less than a day, High Commander. Perhaps your Dominion should reconsider its expansion plans." Threk's compound eyes fixed on the human leader. "You concealed your true technological capabilities. This was unexpected. Humanity has learned through bitter experience to keep some advantages hidden," Alvarez replied. "Your intelligence on our species was clearly incomplete." The alien made a sound that the translation device interpreted as laughter. "A temporary setback. The full might of the Dominion will never reach Earth," interrupted Admiral Zhang, who had just entered the room. "While you've been enjoying our hospitality, High Commander, your retreating ships have been tracked and disabled by our fleet." Additionally, we've analyzed your communication protocols and sent a message to your homeworld. Threk's mandibles clicked rapidly in what humans were beginning to recognize as alarm. What message? Dr. Nishimura entered, carrying a data tablet. We informed them that your invasion force was completely destroyed after encountering our preliminary defenses, and suggested that further aggression would trigger our primary response systems. We included just enough technical data about our gravitational manipulation technology to make the threat credible. For the first time, uncertainty showed in the alien commander's posture. Impossible. You could not have deciphered our encrypted channel so quickly. Nishimura smiled thinly. High Commander, we've been intercepting and decoding Vexeri communications for over 30 years, ever since your scout ship crashed in the Pacific Ocean. The revelation hung in the air. The humans watched as Threk processed the implications. Earth hadn't just been prepared for this invasion. They had known about the Vexari for decades. The wreckage was recovered, Nishimura continued, before your salvage team arrived. From it, we learned about your species, your technology, your empire. Most importantly, we learned when you would come for our world. You gave us time to prepare. And for that, humanity thanks you. Outside the command center, Lieutenant Reed coordinated the scientific teams examining the downed Vexeri vessels. The aliens' technology, while advanced, was now yielding its secrets to human analysis. What had appeared magical hours ago was rapidly being demystified. Their power generation is impressive, Reed reported over a secure channel to Maya, but their application of it is predictable. They never developed gravitational manipulation because they focused entirely on brute force approaches. Maya nodded, understanding the implications. The Vexeri had evolved as apex predators on their homeworld, and this had shaped their thinking. Direct, overwhelming force was their solution to every problem. Humanity, by contrast, had evolved as vulnerable prey animals who survived through intelligence, cooperation, and innovation. Different evolutionary paths, she used different technological solutions. In orbit, the Earth Deepwater Navy, now officially renamed the Earth Space Defense Fleet, had begun the process of clearing the debris from the battle. The ships moved with graceful precision, their gravitational drives allowing maneuvers impossible for conventional spacecraft. Aboard the ESD Leviathan, now serving as the fleet's command vessel in orbit, Admiral Zhang received reports from the vessels dispatched to track the retreating Vexeri ships. The alien retreat had been chaotic, their formation discipline breaking down as the impossible happened. A supposedly inferior species had not only resisted but had completely reversed the expected outcome of the invasion. Admiral, his communications officer reported, we're receiving transmissions from the Vexeri homeworld. They're requesting a diplomatic channel. Zhang allowed himself a small smile. It seems the Dominion is more reasonable than their advance force suggested. Inform Earth Command and prepare our diplomatic suite. The speed with which humanity had transitioned from fighting for survival to establishing interstellar diplomacy was remarkable, but not surprising to those familiar with human history. Adaptability had always been humanity's greatest strength. In the White House Situation Room, President Alvarez met with her closest advisors to plan Earth's next steps. The revelation of the Deepwater Navy and the advanced technology it represented had sent shockwaves through human society. Stock markets had plunged, then soared as the implications became clear. Humanity possessed technology far beyond what was publicly known. The transition won't be easy, Secretary of Defense Williams cautioned. 50 years of secrecy doesn't unravel neatly. There will be demands for investigations, accusations of resource misallocation, countries claiming they deserve access to the technology. Alvarez nodded, but also opportunity. The Poseidon Protocol was always designed with two phases: defense against extraterrestrial threats, followed by controlled dissemination of the technology for human advancement. Dr. Nishimura, joining remotely from his laboratory, added, "We've prepared technological release packages calibrated to minimize economic disruption while maximizing benefits. Clean energy from our gravitational generators can begin rolling out within months. The meeting was interrupted by an aide delivering an urgent message. The president read it, her expression shifting from concern to something approaching amusement. "It seems our message to the Vexari had the desired effect," she announced. "Their ruling council is not only disavowing High Commander Threk's actions, but is offering reparations and technological exchange." "They're afraid," Williams realized. "As they should be," Nishimura said quietly. "They attacked what they thought was a vulnerable world and discovered a species that had not only anticipated their coming, but had prepared a defense they couldn't comprehend." 2 days after the failed invasion, Commander Maya Diaz found herself aboard the Leviathan, looking down at Earth from orbit. The vessel's observation deck offered a view that few humans had ever witnessed, their planet, beautiful and whole, turning slowly beneath them. Lieutenant Reed joined her, his expression thoughtful. "Quite a view." Maya nodded. "Worth protecting." "The Vexari ambassador arrives tomorrow," Reed said. "Word is they're bringing technical advisors to verify we haven't deployed planet-killer weapons around their homeworld." "Let them verify," Maya replied. "The fact that they believe we could have done so speaks volumes about how thoroughly we've rewritten their understanding of humanity." In the ship's conference room, Dr. Nishimura briefed a group of officers on what they had learned from the Vexari databases. Their empire is substantial but not as stable as they projected. Several subject species have been watching for signs of weakness. News of their defeat here has already sparked uprisings in 2 systems. Admiral Zhang considered this information. "So we've not only defended Earth, we've potentially changed the power balance in this sector of the galaxy." "Indeed," Nishimura agreed. "And there's more. The Vexari are part of a loose coalition of spacefaring species, not quite an alliance, more a mutual agreement not to interfere with each other's expansion. Our victory has been noticed." "Potential new threats?" asked an intelligence officer. "Potential new allies," Nishimura corrected. "Not every species in the galaxy approaches interstellar relations as aggressively as the Vexari. Some have been looking for a counterbalance to their influence." The implications were enormous. Earth, in the span of a few days, had gone from an isolated world awaiting invasion to a potential player in galactic politics. As night fell over New York, the Vexari flagship, now thoroughly examined by human scientists, was prepared for its return journey. High Commander Threk, demoted by his government and assigned as a cultural liaison to Earth, watched with barely concealed fury as humans swarmed over his vessel, modifying systems and installing human technology. "Your ship will be returned as a gesture of goodwill," Maya explained to him, "but with certain modifications to ensure it can't be used aggressively against Earth in the future." Threk's translator rendered his response as a mixture of grudging respect and threat. "You have surprised us, humans. Few species have ever done so. Fewer still have lived to leverage such an advantage." Maya met his compound gaze steadily. "We're full of surprises, High Commander. Your mistake was in assuming that because we hadn't revealed our capabilities, they didn't exist. Humanity learned long ago the value of keeping an ace in the hole." As the modified Vexari vessel departed Earth orbit the next day, humanity looked to the stars with new perspective. The oceans that had hidden their secret armada had served their purpose. Now those same vessels would carry human representatives outward, establishing Earth's presence among the stars not as conquerors, but as a species that had earned respect through the most unexpected means, being underestimated and overcoming. In her office overlooking the Pacific, President Alvarez signed the official document establishing the Earth Diplomatic Corps, a companion organization to the newly public Earth Space Defense Fleet. The two would work in tandem to secure humanity's future among the stars. "They laughed at us," she remarked to Dr. Nishimura, who had been invited to witness this historic moment. "They saw our visible technology and judged us primitive. A common human failing as well," Nishimura observed. "We judge by what we can see, forgetting what might be hidden beneath the surface." Alvarez nodded, looking out at the ocean that had concealed humanity's greatest achievement and most powerful defense. A lesson for us all, Doctor. When they wrote our epitaph, they didn't realize we were just beginning our story. Somewhere in the vast darkness between stars, the remaining Vexari fleet limped homeward, carrying with them the news that would reshape their understanding of the galaxy. They had come to conquer a world of primitives and instead had awakened a sleeping giant. The species they had dismissed as barely worth subjugating had revealed itself as something much more dangerous. Innovative, adaptable, and capable of turning weakness into strength. The laughter had stopped. The galaxy was listening now.